I'm out in Fairmount, Indiana this morning, where with Atlas Preservation on another stop on their 48-state tour. They're using Roundup to make sure that the grass stays away from all these markers. And it's actually causing problems with the stones because without grass or without turf grass, you're having issues where the bases start shifting and it precipitates this falling over of stones that we've got going on. So you see all these stones back here.
Basically, when you look at something like this, we can see that without a good foundation, the ground moves, things lean, they tend to topple. All monuments were joined together at one time, but you can see it's interesting, there's no sign of any bonding material. First the base is sinking, now it's sliding off. When something is leaning at this angle, you know it's gonna fall. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. In modern cemeteries, you need to have concrete generally because you keep digging graves in front of and behind, and I was a grave digger. If the monument right behind there doesn't have a foundation, it will fall in the grave. And I've seen that happen, and I was just working at a cemetery in Arlington, Virginia, where I did a 2-day training with them. They were digging a grave, and a monument fell in the grave while I was there. And they're like, we have a different job we're gonna work at. This monument just fell in the grave. All we're gonna use is a bar and blocks. I'm gonna try to push it back. Then we're gonna dig around it and pry it. If we can get it moving, we can then get it level. Then we could tip this up on blocks and join it without taking it apart. I want a low angle here. That's just about where I want that really low down. And now I can push this. We're getting higher up on the platform now. It's making it safer. So now we gotta come under here and dig this up. And so what we got to do is dig a channel around just like here, because then we'll finish the regrading, and then we can work on cleaning all the pieces. So how many years have you been carving, Casey?
Probably about 15.
So you originally took it up as a hobby, and then...
I'll tell you, all my people are from Tennessee, and they were really poor, East Tennessee, and a lot of times they just had rocks. And my grandpa was born in 1894.
Yeah.
When I was 10.
Yeah.
He took me by the hand. He said, "Now that's my great-great-grandpa. He was in the Civil War." And I thought, "Grandpa, when you're gone, who's gonna know who's under that rock?" So when I grew up, I started making replacement stones.
Nice. So most of these older stones here pre-1900 were primarily hand-carved in like this, sorta. This is hand-carved V-sunk letters, and you get a V because the deeper you go, then it makes a V projection. It's a distinct different than in modern times. Generally, 99% of everything is sandblasted, and when you sandblast it, it creates a U in the back, and it's not as pretty, as elegant. It's the earlier sandblast was all done with these cookie cutter things, and they had to lay the letters out more like a historic newspaper, and then you'd run it through this stuff called mask, and you make a stencil, and it's thick stuff so that when you sandblast, it doesn't cut through. In modern times, you know, the vast majority today is made on computers, and then they're cutting the stencil. So the stencil, the mask cutter is like a specialized printer.
I wanted to show you what Casey Winningham's got on his rig. He's got this really cool tripod behind us that he built.
Well, it's basically started with 2x6s. I cut it down into a 2x4 cross section size. Here I left the feet and the head the same size.
So then he's got this other one that's behind us here. We're gonna pan around here. But he's got this rig that he made this himself along with a buddy of his. You can see this is a gantry crane, but it's a homemade rig that he's got on a trailer, and he's able to get this out into cemeteries and move these stones around without having to have a bunch of people.
My friend Reggie came up with this beam that allows this trolley to transfer back and forth from side to side. He came up with a real good fastening system so that the beam remained locked in very safe. The hoist goes on to into that yellow loop there.
And then you've got a leveling system down here?
Yes. You do want to make sure that it's level. These are screw threads. in the leg here. That way I'll put a magnetic level on the beam so that when you lift a stone, it doesn't suddenly go flying downhill.
So what kind of weight can this handle? Do you put like a 1-ton hoist on this?
2,000 pounds.
2,000 pounds.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
The nice thing about it is that you can lift a stone right here. If you've got a stacked monument with maybe 3 pieces, you could lift the top piece and you can just walk it right over here, lower it down, come back, lift the next piece, lower it down. It keeps everything out of the way.
So guys, we've got a tripod, wooden tripod, got a gantry crane on a trailer with all his aggregate. We've got a water tank here with a sight glass. We've got a pull-out camp stove, drawers for the silverware, a bed to sleep in.
And I've got lights everywhere. I've got these foil window blocks, for privacy and such. This is connected to the entire system, all the lights. Well, I've got an electrical choice. That's hooked up to my Jeep battery. That's a portable power supply. So I can plug it into there and power everything from the Jeep's battery. Or if I'm worried about it running down, I can put it in my portable power supply and power everything from there. I've got a fan, got another light, I've got a carbon monoxide detector, I've got a voltage detector, I've got temperature outside, temperature inside, and a master shutoff switch here.
So I think if we come back out here, the biggest thing that I think folks are going to appreciate, you're representing Matt's Off-Road Recovery and the Yankum ropes.
Yeah, that's a very good
Absolutely,
catch.
you guys.
That's a good
I
catch,
hope you guys
yes.
appreciate that. This man is going to get himself out, and if not, we'll call Matt.
We're trying to center this on the wash. We could measure, but what's more important is that this is called a drop wash, and where the 2 drop washes meet, they're going to create this kind of angle. It should line right up with the upper portion, the headstone portion. So right now it looks like it should come back this way a little bit to be equal on this side. So I'll give it a little pull this way. What we can use is a little miniature stainless steel brush now. And we can come around this edge. So we can make kind of a little cleaning wand now, drying wand, if you will. If I wrap this around, I can get the heavy moisture out. Okay, so here's a half a unit of the original setting Pratley putty. And really cool, it sets underwater, mixes better with water. If we add a little water to this, it'll mix more quickly, it'll get really creamy. Now I'm gonna put 4 contact points. I'm gonna do 1 here. I'm gonna just push it under because it's gonna get another monument setting compound on the outside. This is number 2 lead wedge. We're gonna use this like instead of setting cushions. So we're gonna put the thick part out. We're gonna go like into each corner here. Okay, then we'll go to the monument setting compound. It's gonna be by far the most versatile for historic stones. And then I have 1/2-inch blocks, and I found that's just about the perfect thickness to fill this void, and we can thin this out so it just rolls right in, this 1/2-inch gap. When I was a monument setter, I always used metal bars, and then you gotta worry about these smooth edges, and you'd protect them in different ways. There's a lot of tricks. You could put a plastic spacer in the middle. And then I realized that I could use wood blocks, and I could do a lot of things with wood. And so 1/4-inch wood block will lift a lot of weight. Okay, now I can fine tune it. I go low, I can get it to slide. We want to do this a little bit to get it to seat itself anyway. Get a little lateral motion to get it to seat itself. You got to help it a little. The tool in her hand is called a margin trowel. Now it's a little deficient here because there's a little chip. And so what we can do is take, especially a piece of the trimmings works well. Come in here, lay this here. Now we come from a low angle. We kind of roll this tool in. Probably need to get some more of the epoxy putty. So now you just mix the 2 together, and it's interesting stuff. Roll it out a little bit like a cigar, and then you're just gonna stretch it out just so it nicely rolls right in like that. Okay, you try to basically fill that void, connect it to this piece, and see it's a little fat. Just stretch it a little, push down, and you'll lift the stone. Okay, good, that's all you need. Now you're gonna pull it out, just faster. There you go. We help it a little, encourage it. Okay, so that's pretty much it right there. This process is going to tend to be repeated many times. I personally think this is the most effective way for joining most of these multi-piece monuments. Some people have different ideas on things, and that's fine. We'll say that through a tremendous amount of experience, I find this to be fast, strong, and long-lasting.